Hey, it's Chef Evelyn here, and I wanted to do this video because one of the biggest questions I get as a chefpreneur is how do I price my services? And so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 8 things that you need to consider when pricing your services. Now, 4 of them are mistakes that you're probably making, and 4 of them are the things that you need to incorporate into your pricing. So if you are ready to get in, let me know before we get into the 8 parts if this is you, if you have struggled with pricing your services. I can tell you inside of my free Facebook group for chefpreneurs, for culinary entrepreneurs, that this question comes up a lot. I'm doing this event, I'm doing this, how much should I charge? And I may have a bonus one for you. So let's get into it. So I'm going to be looking down because I got my notes over here, because I wanted to make sure that I'm giving you a video that is going to be really helpful and beneficial. So let's get into the first mistake that I see when it comes to pricing your products and services. And that first mistake is you haven't decided what kind of brand you want to have. And so you can say, Evelyn, what do you mean by that? You haven't decided the level of brand that you want to have. So for example, if you think about restaurants, there are different types of level of restaurants. There's fast food restaurants, there's fast casual restaurants, there's casual restaurants, and then there's high-end dining, right? And what I can tell when people don't know how to price their products and services is they haven't decided where they want to be in the hierarchy of types of brands. Now, what's interesting to note is that any of those business models, whether you want to be fast food and low price, if you want to be fast casual and kind of, okay price, if you want to be casual, medium price, or if you want to be high price, all of those are successful business models. Okay, so none of those are wrong or bad. It really just depends on what works for you, right? So, and you need to know the strategies that go into each one of those. So for every different type of business level, there's a different strategy that goes in generating revenue and pricing their services. If you think about it outside the context of the hospitality industry, if you think about it, let's say something like purses, right? There are really, really cheap purses that you can get at, your local bargain store. And then there's kind of like your Forever 21 H&M Zara purses. And then there's maybe you're up a little bit and you're like in your department store purses or maybe custom bag purses. And then you're in your designer, and even within designer bags, like it just goes up and up and up, right? And so listen, all of them are making purses, all of them serve the same function, and yet at every level of the type of brand, there are people that are successful. There are brands that are successful at that level. Even if you think about makeup, there's like drugstore makeup, there's department store makeup, and then there's luxury makeup. There's drugstore skincare, there's like, skincare at the department store, and then there's like high-end expensive makeup, right? You can think about it as far as housing. You can think about it as far as cars, right? You can get a really, really inexpensive car, and then you can get a super duper luxury custom car, and everything in between. So one of the biggest mistakes that I see chefs make, and the reason why they struggle with their prices, is because they haven't decided what kind of brand they want to have. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that you're trying to Google search your pricing. Now, let me tell you, my business coach tells me all the time that you can't Google search your purpose. And what I'm going to tell you is you can't Google search your prices, because by Google searching your prices, you're assuming that the people that you're copying your prices off of, that they're making a profit or that they're selling their products or services. And you don't know that. You also don't know what level of service they're offering. You also don't know where they're getting the materials. You don't know that behind the scene variable. So I think it's a really dangerous game to base your prices off of someone else's prices when you don't know the behind the scenes financials of that business. Okay. So let's get into number 3. Okay. The third thing is you haven't decided how you want to live. Now, think about this, right? So when I say you haven't decided how you want to live, you may be like, Evelyn, I have no idea what that has to do with my prices. But let me tell you something. One of the things that I teach my clients in my coaching programs and with my one-on-one clients is that you have to start with the end in mind. And once you know how you want to live, then you back into your prices. Okay, so if you haven't decided how you want to live, which also includes how you want to work, then it's going to be very difficult for you to determine what your prices should be. And the fourth mistake that I see a lot of culinary entrepreneurs make when it comes to trying to figure out their prices is you have not put a value on your own time. And so from proposal to proposal, from gig to gig, from job to job, from client to client, you're always reinventing the wheel about how much should I charge, how much is too much, how much is not enough. Yes, I know about food costs, time, I don't know. You haven't put a value on your time. And if you are working with people, more than likely you've probably put a value on their time, but you haven't put a clear, it doesn't matter what it is, price on your time. So now let's transition into, so what are the things that I should consider when it comes to pricing my services? Okay. The first thing that you should consider is the value of what you're offering. Okay. And there are so many factors that go into the value of what you're offering that I can't necessarily get into in this video, or we'd be here all day and listen, you're busy, I'm busy, we don't have time for all that. But one of the things that I teach my clients is how to value their products and services. Okay. And it's more than just like food cost or raw material cost or all of that. It's there's multi layers to the value of what you're offering, right? So part of the reason why some places can sell a $5 hamburger and some places can sell a $50 hamburger is because there are things that are happening behind the scenes, even more so than just the quality of the ingredients, that makes this burger worth $50 and this burger worth $5. Okay. Same thing applies in your business. Okay. So if we get into the second thing to consider, so what this is technically number 6, is that you have not put a value on your experience. And listen, even if you are a career changer like I was a former chemical and environmental engineer working for a Fortune 100 company before I went to culinary school and became a chef. But that's not when I started cooking. I actually started cooking when I was 6 years old. I actually started making money from a culinary business when I was 15 and have always had a culinary business of some sort, and now I just do it full-time professionally. But you probably have not considered your experience when it comes to your pricings. There are things that you know to do or not to do, or to include or not to include in your products or services that your clients don't even know that they're paying for, and they don't necessarily need to know that they're paying for, but you are putting that in to your service, and you need to include that in your price. Okay. The third thing is that you have not considered your expertise. Okay. So did you go to culinary school? Did you stage? Have you taken online courses? Have you hired a coach? Have you been in a group coaching program? Have you taken certificate courses? Have you bought cookbooks and different things like that, right? To really build up your expertise. And once you realize how much you've invested in your expertise, you will know that you need to consider that when pricing your services. And then the last thing that you're not considering when you are trying to figure out the pricing for your business is you haven't really put a value or a price on the level of service that you are providing. One of the things that I tell culinary entrepreneurs all the time, particularly those of you that are private chefs or personal chefs, or you're doing meal prep, or you're doing custom cakes, or you're doing dinner parties, or you're doing any kind of private for hire service, even if it's a catering company, you're not considering the level of service and convenience that you're providing for that client, right? And so once you understand the level of service that they are getting, you will understand how to price your services more accurately. Now, I can tell you, for me, like I said in the beginning, there are lots of different ways to brand yourself. You could be the McDonald's of the culinary world and make millions of dollars, okay? Because McDonald's does volume, right? They do convenience and volume. Or you can go all the way high end, right? Or you can land somewhere in the middle. I personally, because I am very clear about how I want to work and how I want to live, and I know that I don't want to be schlepping all the time. I know that I don't want to work 6 days a week. I know that I don't want to work on nights, weekends, and holidays. I know I want to work a lot from home. I'm very clear that I have a higher end culinary brand and my prices reflect that. But in order to present a high end culinary prices, you have to have a high end culinary brand. And there's multiple things that go into creating a high end culinary brand. One is having multiple streams of income so that you're not dependent upon one stream to be the lifeline of your business. Having passive income, having residual income, and having the different types of income that I talk about in my coaching and in my programs, right? Cooking classes is something that I do. I do corporate demos. I work with brands. I coach, I consult. I do a lot of different things inside my high-end culinary brand. I think also for me, it's just there's a certain way I've had a career before this. And as I've gotten older, I realized I don't want to work 14-hour days. I don't want to work 12-hour days. Heck, I don't want to work 10-hour days. I barely work 8-hour days. Okay. I don't even want to do that. And so because I know that, I have done what I've needed to do to build a brand that can support that. Okay. And so one of the things you also have to have in a high-end culinary brand outside of multiple streams of income is you have to have a brand that presents like a high-end culinary brand. And a lot of times chefs want to DIY their business, right? It's kind of like you go out to eat at a restaurant and the meal was fantastic and you're like, I can make that at home. And listen, because you are talented and because you're crafty and because you have great skill in the culinary space, you are more than likely to do that. But just because you can cook well doesn't mean that you're a great entrepreneur. I'm not saying you're a bad entrepreneur. I'm saying I was a bad entrepreneur. And I thought that if I just knew how to cook and use social media a little bit, that the business would just come flooding in. But I can tell you, posting and praying is not a strategy. That I had to learn how to brand myself in such a way that I could command the kind of prices that I charge without debate. I had to learn to position myself in such a way that the kind of clients that I was looking for were coming to me and I wasn't spending my time scouring for them. I had to position myself in such a way that I could deliver my products and services with ease. So I had to learn all of these different business strategies and tactics about how to get new leads, right? New people looking at my business all the time. How to convert those leads into buying customers. I needed to learn the strategy for that. I needed to learn how to use social media effectively for my business. I needed to know how to provide a high level of customer service, right? Things that I hadn't even thought about, right? And one of the things that really closed the gap for me after spending years of trying to DIY it, missing out on a ton of income, spending a lot of money, wasting a lot of money, losing out on possibly some great clients, is I had to get a mentor who could teach me the business side of what I was doing. That yes, I had the raw talent, but knowing how to cook is not enough, right? And so if you're like me and you're considering leaving your corporate job to transition to this culinary field, I will tell you, knowing how to cook well is not enough. You actually need to spend the majority of your energy focusing on marketing your business, which is something a lot of us don't know. If you went to college and you went the traditional route, you had to go to college and invest in yourself through going to college to learn how to do the position you have now. And somewhere along the line, if you're like me, and I'm not saying you are, but I'm telling you what I did. I thought, I'm smart. This entrepreneurship thing can't be that difficult. And I'm pretty sure that if I just, let people know that I'm in business, I'll make money. And, that's kind of an insult to people who have been entrepreneurs a long time. It's kind of an insult to me now to believe that you can come from two completely different worlds, different systems, right? Which is more of a corporate system to the entrepreneurial system, and think that you don't have to learn how this different world works, right? So just like there are systems and processes and pathways in a traditional corporate career, there are completely different systems and rules of engagement and processes that happen in a business. And so if you're like, Evelyn, you know what, I want to build a high-end culinary brand. Like, I've been personal chefing and it's cool, but I realized that once my calendar fills up, my income is capped, right? So once I have a client every day, 5 days a week, and then I'm spending the 6th day of the week doing admin work, I'm booked out and I don't have time for anything else to make additional revenue. Or maybe you're scared to admit this, but maybe you don't want to cater anymore. I'm giving you permission to say that to yourself. I remember when I was catering, and listen, catering can be super lucrative. And I have some clients who are caterers and they are fantastic and they love it, and that is their sweet spot. But maybe you did that because you didn't know what else to do. You thought, I know I don't want to go work in a traditional, restaurant or hotel because I'm not working 90 hours a week at this phase of my life, and I don't want the low hours and low pay. So I'll be a personal chef, or I'll do meal prep, or I will maybe be a food blogger. And you're like, how many free recipes am I going to have to post to be able to command the kind of dollars from the brands that I want to work with, right? And so if you're like me and you're like, okay, that's not working, I don't want to schlep stuff around anymore, I'm over it, and you're like, but I don't want to leave this industry, because maybe you've already invested in culinary school and you're like, listen, I'm out here now, or I want to be in this space, but I got to find a way that works for me. My guess is that you need a high-end culinary brand. And so if you're someone who is serious about investing in learning how, from the beginning to the end, how to build a high-end culinary brand, how to have multiple streams of income, how to create passive revenue, how to create residual revenue, how to command higher prices, how to easily price your products and services, how to build a brand that looks like it commands high prices, how to put systems and processes in place so that your ideal clients are coming to you and you're not going to them, so you can avoid costly mistakes and spending all your time going to networking events where you really don't find a client and people just are handing you their business cards, and I don't even want to get into that, right? If you're kind of over that life and you're ready to make a serious investment of resources and time, then I would love to talk to you, because that is what I help my clients do, which is build premium culinary brands. Okay. And so listen, I would love to talk to you. There is a link below this video to fill out a strategy for a strategy session. You do have to apply, and there's just some questions there for me to ask you a little bit more about your business. And the way the strategy calls works is that, if your application is approved, then we will schedule a one-on-one time for about a 20 to 30 minute chat. And I'm just going to ask you some additional questions about your business beyond what's on the application, and to see if I can support you in your business goals and if we would be a good fit of working together. And in the event that we are a good fit to working together, I am going to recommend some of my products or services or my programs that could help you achieve your goals. If we're not a good fit, no worries. But I will say this, it's not a free coaching call. So listen, if you're not in a place where you're ready to invest in your business at a high level, because in order to have a high-end culinary brand, you have to invest at a high level. If you're not at that place, that's totally fine. Listen, I remember when I wasn't at that place. And so definitely want to make sure it's valuable to you. And so, but if it is, you would love to talk to you and get you on the calendar. So I hope that this video has really supported you in being able to understand how you need to price your services. I know it's a struggle, but it's a symptom of a bigger issue, right? And so once you build out your brand, you will totally understand how to price your products and services. So I will see you next time. Peace.